Okay, so you have to write an essay for your English class about a novel or a play or a poem, and you have a question that you've been given, and now you have to come up with a thesis statement. So what is a thesis statement and how do you write one? I'm going to answer that question. A thesis statement is a one-sentence explanation of what your point is. So why are you writing this essay is what's going to come up in the introduction, and then your thesis statement is what are you trying to prove? What is your point? Okay, so here's how you do it. Number one, you read the question that you've been asked and pick out keywords in the statement. Number two, brainstorm ideas for an answer. So if you were asked something about is Frankenstein, in the book Frankenstein, is the monster evil, or is it is he a sympathetic character? So should we feel sorry for him, or should we think that he's really evil? So then you could just write down some ideas quickly, like well, he does do a lot of bad things, he does murder people, but on the other hand, he's really lonely and he does try to make contact with people and then they reject him. So you have some ideas written down. Okay, number three, put it together into one sentence. So you kind of look at that, take the best of what you have and write it into one sentence. So something like the monster, let's come up with a bad statement at first. Frankenstein is a really bad monster. Okay, so that could be a thesis statement, but it's not very good. And here's why. Because in number 4, the fourth step here, what you do is check, is it clear? Well, that's clear, yep. Is it interesting? Not really. And finally, is it debatable? Definitely not. It's really not, it's not debatable at all. Yes, it is a bad monster. We know that he commits murder. So it's not very interesting and it's not debatable. So once you've got that statement, you have to start out with a bad statement generally, and then you can fix it up. So then you can think, okay, how do I make that more interesting? So you look back at your ideas that you've written down from reading the question, or you could reread the question again and think about it some more and think, even though the monster is lonely and tries to make contact with people, he does commit really bad crimes and is therefore evil. So something like that is more interesting because it's debatable. Some people might not agree with you and some people might agree with you, and so you are going to have to prove your point. So there's really no point in writing the essay if you don't have anything much to say. And I know the only reason you're writing an essay is because you have to for a class. But as you get older or work in different jobs, you will want to write something and you want to make a point and you want to prove your point. And there's no reason to write something unless you have a point that some people will agree with and some people won't agree with, and something that's interesting. So you have to come up with a sentence that is clear, interesting, and debatable. It could be true, could not be true, and it's your job to prove it. Okay, and then number 5 step for your thesis is to use your thesis to help organize your essay in a way that makes it really easy to write the rest of your essay. I feel like if you write a good thesis statement, it's almost like cheating. You can just write your essay so easily because you've gotten it so nicely organized. But it's not cheating. You're allowed to do that. So if you have a 3-point thesis statement, then all you have to do is write one paragraph for each point that you bring up in the thesis. So you could say something like, even though the monster is lonely, you can see that he's a bad monster because he kills this person, he kills this person, and he kills this person. Now that's not a very good statement. I'm just making that up off the cuff. But in another way, it's really good because then all you have to do is talk about those 3 different murders and then you've got your essay written. So now you just go step by step and you write it. So that is just a quick explanation of how to write a thesis statement. So it is difficult, but try it out. Just so start with your question, write down some ideas, put it together into a sentence, and then check. Is this clear? Does this make sense? Is it interesting? And is it debatable? Is it something that not everyone would agree with, but it is possible to prove this? And then finally, write it in such a way that it helps you organize your essay. It helps you write a better essay, and it also helps the reader know what is going to happen. So it makes it easier for someone else to read your paper. And we'll leave it at that. So thanks.